Hello, everyone. I don't know why I always start that way and then I laugh. I think that's my signature thing. Is that a zit? So, one of the things I miss about being on the pill is that I didn't have acne and I didn't struggle with acne as a teenager, as a child, or whatever. I had acne at one period of my time when I was incredibly stressed. Maybe I've blocked out the other one because I was incredibly stressed twice in my life. As an adult, when I worked at my first job for a year, I was so stressed that I went to hospital with exhaustion. I wasn't admitted. I went to hospital with non-symptomatic symptoms. Like, okay, there was non-specific symptoms, gastrointestinal disturbances. So the doctor fortunately asked me some very interesting questions. He asked where I worked, whether I was dating, if there was anyone I liked, what I did in my free time. And at some point, I got very impatient with him because I was thinking, this is supposed to be a real consultation. Like, why is he asking me about my personal life? I get very defensive around authority figures. That's an ADHD problem. I now know. But he was like, Sharon, please humor me. I was like, oh, he'd seen me before. My mom had seen him. It's Nairobi West Hospital. I wish I remembered his name. I would have referred every patient alive to Dr. Naima Omondi in Kilifi and to this doctor at Nairobi West Hospital because he actually listened to me. And he wasn't really looking at me, he was doodling things, playing with his pen. And then he said, Sharon, you need to get a real job. You're not happy where you are, and you're too young to be struggling with exhaustion. You're only 25. You need to get a job that you enjoy. You need to maybe meet someone. I think I'd mentioned I was on a long distance relationship. He was like, yeah, whatever floats your boat, but just, take care of yourself, be happy. Hearing that from a doctor was huge. A man, a black man, and I think a married man, if I'm not mistaken. Ladies, this is why married men are appealing. I tell women that married men have a PhD in women. They've lived with them, or any man who's lived with a woman long term, he'll know. Like my married guy friends can tell when I'm ovulating. They can tell when I am on my period. They can tell when I'm in a good mood or in a bad mood. Literally, I walk through a door and they'll be like, what's bothering you? Which is why when my guy friends get married, create a healthy distance. Because one, I believe in karma and I don't want to be the sort of woman who is a nightmare to a married woman. I don't want when a married woman is getting on her knees to pray, she's not mentioning my name like, and God bless Sharon Ogugu for the way she impacts his family. No, that she's crying. Human beings need to be terrified of women's tears, children's tears first, but women's tears next. And especially the tears of married women about their men. In the New Testament, I forget where, God literally warns men and he says, and it's like, do not cause your wives pain, or it's not embitter. The embitter one is used for children. Like, do not grieve your wives that your prayers be not hindered. And I have literally very shamelessly told men in my life who are willing to hear it, there are many things that start failing in your life because of the tears of the women you've had, especially if you know your intentions with a woman were bad, but you kept it from her. Like you sold her the idea of a relationship knowing that's what she wanted to hear or needed to hear at the time. But that was not your intention. You just wanted to get sex. If you notice things not working out for you in life, and by the way, this is also in, then be very, go back to the drawing board. And the reason why so many men struggle, in my opinion, is because they've not been taught or been willing to learn how to stop, drop, roll. Like in real life, it's not when you're on fire. Like, stop. That first one. Pause. Sit with the feelings. The men I know who are very in tune with their feelings, very few. I remember speaking with someone and we bonded. I'd just gotten out of my relationship in 2016 and I was incredibly lonely, and so I spent time talking to him. And he said one of the saddest things I've heard men say to me over the years, before him and after him, that no one knows me like you do. And I'm like, and this time, instead of being cynical, because I'd been in a relationship with a man, I realized he might actually be saying the truth. Maybe he's not just saying this to get in bed with me. I was going to say it so crudely, which is why I paused. But um, then I listened to him, and I was like, but you've lived with a woman before, so this, it doesn't make sense to me. You didn't live with her for 6 months, it was for a couple of years. And he's like, yeah, still. And I asked him, what did you talk about? This is a question I'm actually asking men. I really do want to know. What do you talk about with your wife, your girlfriend, your baby mama? When you guys have those soft, tender moments, usually after sex, what are you guys actually talking about? Are you just sharing memes? Because you can share memes with me. 'Cause that's I like memes now. I like stickers. Oh gosh, I love stickers. I love those funny stickers like keep moving and strong woman, and I love them. Oh gosh, my arms are doing the thing. My upper arm strength has improved since I started the cleaning job, so I'm keeping the job. It's back-breaking work, but I figured out a system. I only need to work 3.5 hours instead of 4, which is a maximum, and then 2.5 hours, and then or 2 hours. I pushed it yesterday to 2.5. There was a lot to do. It's hot, and then it rains, so there's sand. So children, being children, they go out into the sand boxes, and then they come back to the classrooms, and I can actually tell you where the boys sit. One of them left a banana peel on the floor, and by the way, I haven't even seen their names on their desk. I can bet where there's the most sand and where cake and pretzels have been poured on the floor and they didn't bother to clean. That's a boy sitting there. And guys, can we please start raising our sons better? I've noticed even in the same household, a girl will be told to clean up after herself and a boy is not held to the same standard. My mom was okay with my brother being out late, me not so much. Now, you grow up and you realize it's because the worst thing that can happen to my brother is probably that he'll get picked up by the cops because there's a bar fight nearby. That's happened to a friend of mine when he left church. Or because the cops see that he's in a nice shirt or tie and they can get a bribe for him for loitering. I'm talking about Kenya. Or he has locks, this hair, and so they're like, okay, we can, like, the people who believe locks are still tied to the outlawed Mungiki sect in Kenya, and there are cops of a certain generation who still have that mentality. When I say boomers will be the end of us, I mean boomers and their types, those old school people, those tribalists, those people. So there are places where, yeah, having hair like this is a danger. There are certain places in Kenya because there are children who are killed. There were brothers who were killed in Kajiado because they had locks. And in fact, the colonizer used to call them dreadlocks. My friend Shiko told me this. She said apparently they were called dreadful locks. Of course, because they were associated with the freedom fighters. And who do we think of? Dedan Kimathi. He had this hair. The outlawed Mungiki sect, they have this hair. Why do I have this hair? First of all, it's the only way I can manage this hair. Secondly, I love how I look in this hair. It's the one time I've loved my appearance, other than when I had braids. But braids took 4 hours and 4 women pulling in different directions and a hell a lot of money. Now, there are people who are like, oh, but doesn't it cost more to do this? Do you know the last time I redid this hair? A few weeks ago. The last time before that was a month before. So if I'm doing my hair 3 times a year, who is wasting the time? Because I don't know why we don't also quantify time as valuable. Now, we are 9 minutes in. I'm not sure I had an agenda for this post, but I'm going to talk about various issues. And they're all tied to health, by the way, because this week I want to focus on health. I'm on a fast today. And is it for spiritual reasons? Yes. oh my gosh, all the Christians are throwing their hands in the air like you should not be telling us. The instruction from Jesus was make sure your skin is well oiled and that your lips are not chapped so that people don't know you're fasting, and then don't walk around looking gloomy. I was sitting outside in the sun watching my clothes in my sports bra because I now have a flat stomach because I clean. Correction, I've had a flat stomach for a very long time. The only other time I've not had a flat stomach was when I was stressed to a point where I was so bloated that I looked like I was 4 to 5 months pregnant. And my mom took me out for a walk to help with the bloating. I was out of work. It was 2020, I think, during COVID. 2019 when I moved back home, February. So stressed. I was so stressed. I'd lived alone from the age of 25. This was me moving back home in my 30s. Was it? Yeah, I was really 30 something. Oh God, I cried. It was hard for me. I'm incredibly independent. The fights my mom and I had when I was in campus, why I was not asking her for money to buy new panties and new shirts, and I'll tell her, but shirts in Githurai are 30 shillings. You sent me money for upkeep. I bought what I needed. Uncle Moses sent me money for my birthday. Aunt Evelyn sent me money for my birthday. I put that money together. I went to Githurai Market. I bought myself some t-shirts for 30 shillings, which is so little money. I don't know how many cents that is. It's cents. And those t-shirts last and last. And that's why I buy clothes from Kenya. My jeans, the pants you see me wear, the sweatpants, why I was grieved when I lost those 2 pairs of sweatpants is because they're from Kenya. And they cost like 5 euros. 5 euros yeah, 5 euros is a lot. It's about four and a half, 4 euros, yeah, roughly 4 euros a pair. And because I'm buying like the really nice ones from Uptown. Why? Because unfortunately I now look like money, and my friends look like money. My friend Anne looks like money. Like, you just need to look at her. Even when she's been unemployed, I'm like, babe, like no one would buy it. And my friend Naima, Dr. Naima Mondi, has told me, Sharon, you just look like money. That's why the boda guys are charging the motorcycle public means of transport. The motorcycle guys will charge you 100 shillings because they just look at you and they see that you look like money. Even when I speak Swahili, like proper Swahili, and another friend of mine who's also a client told me, yeah, Sharon, even your Swahili it's really polished Swahili. It's because I was raised by a grandpa who was like that. Now, let's talk about how all these things tie into health. When I walk into a meeting and people see the sort of hair I have, and they know how much it costs to do this hair, they have certain assumptions, biases, isms, etc. They assume that, oh, she has money, so we are going to pay her what she asks for. And I learned this from my boss in Berlin. He actually told me, when you show up to a client's house driving and he's given you a casual job because he does physical work, and you're uprooting a plant it's usually a plant, sorry, it's a stump. That's a lot of work. It's very physically tasking. He plays sports, so he's good. He goes to the gym as well. So he says, when you show up in a car, there's a way that people treat you. And it's true. I've noticed this. When I show up for meetings in an Uber, clients don't fight me about payments, especially clients who live in certain places. South Sea, Karen, uh, certain parts of Thika Road, and what's the other place? Kiambu Road. They don't. Lavington, Kilimani. They don't bother you. Even Runda and what's this other place? Loresho. Even Kino Kikuyu, because and Kajiado and Kilifi. I've had clients from everywhere in Kenya. Even my Somali clients from Isili. Like, we assume that because people live in certain places, South B or wherever, or Babadogo, that they can't afford. No, people are fine. People are smart. People are living in cheap houses, far away, where public transport is good, so that they're used to suffering. So they're okay with waking up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. to avoid traffic, to get to work, and to be able to afford a 3-bedroom house. Kahawa Sukari, Kahawa Wendani, Ruiru. Like, and I can mention these places because I've actually stayed there. I've lived there, or I've stayed at a friend's place. Sorry, my sleepovers last like a week, 2 weeks sometimes. When I lived in Muziga, I remember my next door neighbor was like, because it was just 9 units. So he used to see me so rarely. And he used to notice when I'd be leaving with a bag, either to go to my mom's place for sleepover or a friend's place, or my mom's and then a friend's. And he's like, why do you pay rent? Like, why do you. And even when I was paying rent for 3 months, my landlord, Mr. Gishanga, was like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, look, I'm fine. I'm single. I'm good with money. I lived in a studio apartment. I was paying 11,500, which was expensive because I needed to live near a pub and near the road because I'm a woman. Pubs are some of the safest places for women to like near pubs. It's loud and churches. Let's see. I'm saying churches because my bestie Jules lives mm, near that place. I was going to disclose where she lives without her permission. And there are churches on Sunday. You probably know where this place is. I know people who've lived in Uthiru. I know people who've lived on Naivasha Road. I know, like, and it's proximity to power. You're near the rich people. You live in Langata near, I forget the names of the houses because, and and my mom lives in Nairobi West. Now, of course, when I say I grew up in Upper Hill and my mom lives in Nairobi West, I grew up in Upper Hill and then South Sea and then back in Upper Hill, and then my mom lives in Nairobi West. People place me somewhere. Sometimes to my disadvantage because they're like, nimeitwa mtoto wa Bombay, like Kibombe ama ni Bombay. I don't speak Sheng. I will not apologize. I was raised to fear Sheng because my grandfather said if we spoke it, we would be beaten. He said it's the only reason he'd hit his child if they spoke Sheng in his house. He said you could only speak English or Swahili in his house. And I was raised by both my grandparents and my mom and her brothers, which is why I'm such a complete person. And my mom allowed my friends to come over, and I was allowed to go for sleepovers. And my mom does sleepovers now at the age of 56. Now, the class of sleepovers she does, London. She refuses to go to the US because she says it's the belly of the beast. So I'm literally my mother's daughter. I sound like her. I look like her. I am single like her. I don't have a kid. I have children like her. She has many kids. She's educated. She has many kids who spent the night at her house, which is why I keep telling people I'm going to get a big house because everyone and everyone's children want to come and stay with me. And you know how we're going to live together? We're going to get pallet beds, literally just pallets and mattresses, good quality mattresses, because a majority of my friends are females, are women, and their kids, whether those are boys or girls. So we'll have a section for the boys, we'll have a section for the girls, and then I have guy friends, so the boys can sleep in the guy's compound because he has his 24 acres, and I have my 24 acres. And if they want to come, they have to walk that distance because I'm that aunt. I'm the aunt who's like, I'm the aunt who brings kids yogurt if they do take dairy products, apples. Rahma knows me because Auntie Sharon brings watermelons. um I'm that aunt. I'm the one who brings fruit. I don't bring candy. I don't. I'd rather come empty handed. And also bring books. So I bought a, was she 12? I bought a 12-year-old a children's Bible. And I asked her, Amanda, whether it was hard to read. And she said, yeah, somehow. But I told her, you know what? I got you this gift so that you read it for now in the future. Why? I want her to improve her vocabulary and her relationship with God. She has a fantastic father and a great mom. And so I just felt that was going to be the perfect gift for her, and I signed it for her. And where I lived with my mom, it was basically 10 women. So during COVID, whoever had an onion farm brought onions, whoever had potatoes brought potatoes, whoever, I'm just throwing out things, but I remember the onions from downstairs, house number 10. Whoever had vegetables, whoever used to go to the market because people lost their jobs and whatnot and their hustles. So whoever used to go to the market would even sometimes tell us, oh, I am going to the market tomorrow. Does anyone need anything? Pay me because I need money. And we would do that. You know, we would discuss whose child has been crying at night, whose child has a cough that's lasted too long. If someone's kid went through surgery for something, we would go and pray at their house. That's the beauty of women living together. That is why I want to build a flat where women live together. We don't necessarily have to know each other, but it's when your child has a problem, I can help out with it. If, you know, so for instance, one day when I was in Ruiru, a baby walked up the steps and I was just minding my business with my door wide open. I like to leave the door, even now, while I am seated here half dressed, the door is wide open. And when this baby went up the steps, there was a construction site that wasn't completed. So she was going up the stairs. The construction guys across the fence could see her. And then I spotted her just as she was getting to the top. When I tell you, all my ovaries screamed. Well, the two of them, all my ovules, my eggs screamed. Because I was like, oh my God, if this baby falls from here and lands on her head, that's it. And she's still toddling. So she's a toddler. She's still learning how to get she's not stable in her walk. She's not a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old. She's not started school. And I had seen the nanny, the house help. She used to be very nice and smile at me. So I think she looked away. And this happens. Kids, you look away and a child drowns. You look away. And so I opened the door and she heard me and she looked at me and I was like, hi, baby. And I walked up the steps. I'm like, how are you? And I went up and I picked her and I put her in my arms. And the relief I felt, I've never even shared this. I guess I told someone that day because I was shaking. And then someone came into the compound and they were like, whose child is that? We saw her climbing and we were wondering who and how to get her down. Like they were literally rushing from the construction site, the construction workers. That's what I miss about Kenya, by the way. A child is not going to walk onto the road and people do nothing. The Endarasha school fire happened and Kasmel Makore went with some lady, and I loved what this lady said. She said her heart was pained because she's a mother. And she says, when you guys hold a funeral for these kids, please invite us. We want to come and show you our support. She's not even from that region. And it made me so homesick. So homesick. How does this tie to health? The mental health of Black people is tied to our culture. When we come here, culture shock is not just being shocked at white people's body parts, I was going to mention them, sticking out during summer. Our culture shock is mostly around the lack of community. And I have data to support this. I can actually finally say that. I have done research amongst immigrant students, particularly Black students from different parts of Africa, in Germany, and not just in Germany, in Bavaria, where the culture is very conservative, closed, religious, proper Catholic. You don't vacuum on Sundays because you need to be quiet, no noise after 10 p.m. Very strict on those rules. Berlin, not so much. Leipzig, not so much. And I've been to Hamburg, not so much. But Bavaria is serious about these things. And I'm told by people who've lived here for a decade plus that it's because Bavaria has old rich money. And I've gotten this information from both Black and white men. Okay. And so one of the things that I've noticed is there are people who had certain symptoms. When they left Bavaria, the symptoms disappeared. And when I say symptoms, I mean depression, anxiety. What's this other one? Autoimmune disease. And this is, I'm smiling because it's such a beautiful thing to know that leaving a toxic situation, leaving a place that doesn't feed you, that takes from you instead of giving you, leaving a place that has bad energy is life-saving. And so if you live in a house where you're always coughing, if you live in a house that's damp, that's dark, that makes you feel yucky when you get home, move. Just move. Because what will it cost you? I remember someone whose child was always suffering from a cough, and someone came and told them, these walls are damp. It must be that these walls move to a flat where the walls face the sun. Like my place, in the morning the sun is on this side, so I have the sun morning to evening, and just the orientation. And we learned this in home science. We learned that when you're building a house, you have to consider the drainage of the land, you have to think of the orientation to the sun, you have to think of the material you're going to use to build. I learned this as a teenager in high school, between the ages of, high school was 15, 16, 17, 18. We learned different breastfeeding techniques for twins, for C-sections, for normal deliveries. Why do you think Africans are adultified, even abroad? Why do you think even in Kenya, politicians shamelessly wanted to bring the age of consent down to 16, and their excuse was, oh, they behave like adults, they look like women anyway, and all that trash. The adultification of Black people comes from our need to survive and the fact that we've also been taught really early how to clean up after ourselves. Some of the things I see in the classrooms that I've cleaned, we were not allowed to pull off. I started to wash my uniform when I was maybe Tina's age. Tina is my adopted daughter. She's my baby. Tina started washing her uniform at the age of 8. I showed her how to. And I told her, you don't have to scrub it clean. I just want you to learn the technique. Why? I noticed she was walking barefoot in white socks. And I told her, Mom, it's because she knows you'll wash them for her. When she understands the consequences to actions, she'll do better. And when she scrubbed and she noticed how hard it was, she kept looking at this part of her hand and she was like, it's hot. I told her that's what mommy feels when she's washing. So if you walk around, and her mom had kept telling her, why are you walking around with your socks on the ground everywhere, outside even? And she just laughed about it. She stopped. And then she told me, Auntie, I see you washing your clothes and I see mommy washing clothes. I want to wash my own clothes. I told her, but you have homework. You're like, no, when I'm done with homework. That's how she started washing. Tina is now 10. She can cook. Why? Because she sees auntie cooking and mommy cooking and grandma cooking. So she cooks. So how many of our sons are not doing this because they don't see us do it? I've never had to convince any of my nephews to cook. I just tell them, come help me with the cake because they see me baking. Come help me with the chicken. This is what you do. Mandela learned how to cook. He had his aunties and he had me, his cousin. His dad cooks. His dad cooks for me. When I have menstrual cramps, I've gone to my uncle's place in Rongai and I was like, oh my God, I'm cramping. I need to lie down. And he wakes me up. Yeah, but he doesn't come into my room, by the way. He'll either knock or he'll call me and say, niece, come, food is ready. And I found ugali, and which is our version of polenta for our English speakers. And I found liver. I wasn't eating liver at the time, but I tasted some because he was so kind to have cooked it. It was well done with pepper and dry fry. And then there was avocado, orange, tomato slices, raw, all around the leafy greens. I was, I think, in my 30s or my late 20s when my uncle did this for me. I had just gone to visit him and my period was perioding. And the men in my family cook. My uncle Peter, when my grandma is sick, she hurt her thumb. I think she cut it on the fence. He didn't send his wife. He came to cook for his mother because he knows his wife is a whole other entity who has things to do and her own mother, And by the way, this isn't to trash her. My aunt cleans my grandma's house when she visits. So I've seen men and women cook and clean. My grandpa used to cook for me after school. And that's why I say, for us, it's the fact that I can't knock on someone's door to ask for salt when I run out of salt when I'm in Germany, unless my neighbor is an African. And even when I have beef with my housemate, like I do right now, we don't talk to each other. When his deliveries come, I was locked in my room yesterday. Well, not the house, because the delivery guy left the TV propped against the handle, so I was locked. Oh God, it was so scary. But I used the key and it worked, and the TV didn't fall and break. So I just dragged it in angrily. Now I'm not talking to him, but why would I leave his TV outside at the risk of it getting stolen? How does that benefit me? If anything, he'll be in a worse mood, and then I will feel his bad energy. Just do nice stuff. Just be a decent person, and don't allow the fact that someone else is not complying to your standards of niceness to change the way you behave. My salary came in on Friday and it was short like 300 euros. It has messed with my mood. Do you know what I did? There's someone who was trying to call me and I told him, I'm in a bad place. Yes, I'm a mess. I'm busy all week. I really can't talk right now. I'm stressed out. It's everything. And I'm looking for a new house. And so today he sent me a video clip saying, hey, something to make you smile. Something very specific that I like. He knows that I like rooftops. And he sent a video clip of a rooftop that he's working at. And I felt so seen and so cared for, because those are things that just make me happy. And like landmarks, landmark of Hamburg, landmark of of Leipzig, Landmark, or Berlin, when people send me pictures like that, when Samoina sends me pictures of sunsets, when Stella watches something and thinks of me and sends it to me. And the Gottmans call them bids. The Gottmans have carried out the longest existing study on relationships, couples, romantic relationships in particular, but a lot of these apply to friendships as well. Do you know why female friendships are well nice spiritual? Do you know the relationships, the romantic relationships that last? The ones where I send my partner something and he actually watches it and he acknowledges it. And I remember there's a man who posted and he said, guys, just watch the videos she's sending you. It may not be the things you like, but there are things that she likes. And that should matter to you. And secondly, it's very likely that that stuff will help you as well. And I wish men understood this because we are so tired. We are so, oh my God, guys, we are tired. I remember when I'd even tell my ex, okay, fine, I'm sending you a 30-minute clip, 30-second clip. And it felt like I couldn't be myself with him anymore, even though we started off as friends. And that's when it starts to die. It's literally relationships end because of very little, very small things, death by 1,000 paper cuts. And also, if you don't have friends, and so I become your mom, your therapist, your friend, your financial advisor, your doesn't work. If you don't have hobbies, and so you're on my case about the hobbies I have, or you then start crapping on my hobbies. If you've not gone for therapy and you've not figured what your triggers are, so you get triggered by me, so you become mean because that's a way to shut me up. How does this tie into health? This is all tied into let's get the help we need so that we stop bleeding on the people we claim to care for. I've blocked an old friend today, not today, this weekend, because we had an agreement that involved money and they didn't come through. They can, but they didn't. And for me, how people treat me when I'm desperate is a true marker for where I place them after an event. If you're nice to me, so for instance, someone asked me, why are you still giving your ex situationship a chance to talk to you? Like, those trash men need to be thrown out. I'm a feminist, but I am also a free thinking person who doesn't believe all men should be thrown out. Many, not all. And this is why, because when I was at my lowest financially, this person still sent me a job when we were pissed off at each other to a point where I blocked them. He just sent me a message saying there's a job in this and this place. Do you want it? I said yes. He said, okay, there's a place for you to stay. This is what you. And I was like, wait, this person is nice to me. And I'm pissed off at them and they're pissed off at me. He actually just told me, yeah, I decided to just let my pride sit down and then give you the job because I know you need the money and you have people you're supporting. That for me is a mark of concern, care, love. That is love. What is not love is because we are broken up and I know you have date night with your girlfriends on Saturday, I refuse to come and pick up the kids so that you can't go. Many baby daddies and ex-husbands do that. What is not love is, I know you're going through a hard time financially, and so I stressed you out about money. I stopped leaving money for your upkeep. As a partner, as a husband, as a boyfriend. What is not love is, I noticed that you're about to miss your flight. Instead of stepping in, my ex stepped in. He tried to help me salvage the flight. And my then situationship also stepped in. He said, let's fight for this flight. By the time I didn't go home in July, these guys had actually fought for me. So I believe in all honesty, again, how does this tie into health? A lot of our health issues that people are coming to me with as a nutritionist have to do with the other things happening in their lives away from their kitchens and plates. It's the kids, it's the job, it's the money issues, it's the relationships, especially with romantic partners. I can't count the number of men and women who I tried to help them, it didn't work, they disappeared. After the separation, divorce, breakup, they come back and they're like, I just followed the menu and I'm losing the weight and my IBS is gone and my headaches are gone and I'm sleeping better and the weight is coming on and I have better muscle, like muscle tone, and my flare-ups are gone for those who have autoimmune diseases. My depression has disappeared. My anxiety has disappeared. Very many black people struggle with their mental health because of money issues. For single moms, send them money. I kid you not. You know a single mom who's struggling. Either, don't, in fact, instead of sending them money, pay a bill for them. Tell them your electricity bill is mine to cover for the next 3 months. Your water bill. I'll pay your house help for the next 6 months. I'll buy your kids books for the year. I will pay school fees in January. In fact, I'll pay it in December directly to the school. I kid you not. Watch their anxiety disappear. Watch their doctors wean them off their anxiety meds. When they cry, listen. I've had client sessions where a client just needed to cry. And I tell them, do you need to grab a pillow and scream into it? We can do it together because I've also had a crap week. And I kid you not, they have a good week. They send me updates. They send me pictures. They tell me they're doing well. It takes so little kindness to help people in their health. And that's why I'm also calling, this is a call to anyone in healthcare. When someone walks through those doors with that referral slip, with that look of fear and fatigue because they've been waiting in lines for hours, that look of, oh my God, what did the test results show? A little kindness goes a long way. You might not see them again. Think of your patients that way. There are patients I've seen and I'm like, yeah, this one is not coming back. When you've worked in healthcare, you know when someone is dying. I've met people with stage 4 cancer who are willing to fight and they fought it. There are others who have put their houses in order. They feel like they're paying for something, and this is very hard to talk about because losing a patient is hard. And they tell you, I'm at peace. I'm okay. I'm ready to go. And I still remember them. I had a grandpa who said to me that he was ready to meet his maker. He had cancer. By the time they caught it, his spine, my aunt is an ER nurse. She was a matron at Kenyatta Hospital. The way she described it, she said, by the time he came to us, she just went like, ah. And I told her, let me guess, his charts lit up like a tree, a Christmas tree, like his x-rays. She said, yeah, the tumors had spread everywhere. Men, please don't die and leave us behind when the deaths can be prevented. Go for your annual checkups. Because this cancer could have been caught. But he was ready to go. And we talked. And then he was staying with my mom at some point. He's my grandma's last sibling. And then he was already in a wheelchair. His wife used to clean him lovingly. They were friends. They used to talk and laugh while she was in the bathroom with him. And we would hear, like my mom would also hear and relate to me because I wasn't able to live with them full time because I had work. And she told me, I look at their love and I want love like this. And I told her, Mom, we're going to get love like this. And, man, I don't want love if it's not like that. They would talk and she'd basically relate to him. You used to take care of me, now it's my turn. God has finally given me a chance to take care of you. And so when he finally was ready to go, he started saying he wants to go home. He misses home. And my mom was like, no, the doctors are here. And I told her, Mom, he's ready to go home. And not just home, but home. When I went to visit a church friend's hubby in hospital, I saw him. I said hi. I walked out. My mom asked me, he's not doing okay, is he? I said no. She asked, will he last? I said no. But at least she has a chance to say goodbye. We lost him the next day. My friend has told me that she looked at her late dad's chart and she could tell he was going. When you're dealing in healthcare, you really have to see a whole person. You can't see a statistic. And I know it's hard. That's why I don't do clinical nutrition. I still do lifestyle nutrition, and it's hard. I have lost people, and it's hard. It doesn't get easier. But be the reason someone left the earth feeling, I'm ready. Give them hope. Make them feel like, you know what, your life mattered. Your kids may not be here, but they loved you. You did your best as a mom, as a dad, as an aunt. If you're going to get into healthcare, nursing, caregiving, aged people care, if you don't have a heart for humanity, please don't do it. You will cause more harm than good. But if you're willing to learn, and I've discovered some of the best people in healthcare are people who got really bad grades in school or not good enough for medicine grades. And I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash, but some of the most brilliant people I've met are some of the most arrogant people I've met. Some of the ones who've been humbled by life and who got a C plus or a B or didn't go to university or are called to a community college are some of the best human beings I have ever met. And so I'll repeat this because it bears repeating. It needs repeating. Healthcare is a holistic thing. Kindness is part of it. Be kind to everyone you meet, for everyone you meet is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. Stay happy and healthy. Take time to fast if your brain is blocked, if you're addicted to social media like me. I needed a break. It's hard. I miss Instagram. I miss just watching YouTube videos. But I get a break. It's a 6 a.m., 6 p.m. fast. And I can't wait. I can't wait because like I can already feel my body, the tightness in my shoulders easing, my gut feeling better. A break from all the tortilla chips and cheese I've been eating lately. But I'm really, really happy and really, really grateful. And I love being in healthcare. I hope to meet you on the other side. The other side not being the afterlife only. I do believe in the afterlife, I believe in heaven. But I hope to support someone who's struggling with their health because I like to look for the most challenging cases. So if you have a challenging case, especially with your mental health and and cancer, just the word cancer just keeps ringing in my head. Please get in touch. If you know someone who has cancer, I would love to help take care of them and be a part of their healthcare team. Again, stay happy and healthy. This is now for real sign off. It's been 43, almost 43 minutes. Ciao, guys.